Republican federal budget supported by Trump and his Republican congressional allies is dangerous, cruel, and deeply out of touch with the realities of working and middle-class families here in Central Florida. It is a direct attack on everyday Americans. Through this budget, Trump and his MAGA Republican allies in Congress will kill close to 1 million jobs in the next 5 years alone, kick 17 million people off their health care, representing the largest Medicaid cut in American history. Cuts now by 20%, leading up to 5 million people to lose nutrition assistance and putting tens of millions of kids at risk of losing their breakfast, their school breakfast and lunches. It also increases electricity costs by about $400 for the average American family every year. It weakens our public schools by providing vouchers for unaccountable private institutions. And not only that, but it also adds $4 trillion to the deficit and gives close to $1 trillion in tax cuts to the wealthiest Americans. Here in Orange County, this budget means fewer resources for mental health clinics like this one. It means higher healthcare costs, fewer protections and less support for working families trying to put food on the table and send their kids to school, less money for our public schools, and much more. This budget rewards the wealthy at the expense of the rest of us, who will now have to pay the consequences of financial irresponsibility from Trump and congressional Republicans. And I say congressional Republicans because it wasn't just Trump. And in just 1 year, every single one of the House Republicans who voted for this atrocity will be on their ballots. And so will be Senator Ashley Moody. Central Floridians won't be fooled. We see this budget for what it is, an extremist roadmap that takes away what people rely on to survive. Today, we're standing shoulder to shoulder with local leaders, healthcare advocates, union members, and working people from across Central Florida to fight back and fight forward. And with that, it is my honor now to introduce one of the champions who's fighting for us in Washington, D.C., Congressman Maxwell Alejandro Frost.
Hello, everybody. It's an honor to be here with so many amazing leaders, amazing union leaders, organizers, Orange County Democratic Black Caucus, volunteers, of course, the Orange County Democratic Party, and it's so great to be here at Pan American Behavioral Health. Thank you so much for your advocacy and having us here. You know, when the first federal funding freeze happened, you were one of the first people I called, and we spoke about the impacts to healthcare here locally. And obviously now with this horrible, big, ugly bill being passed into law, we are going to see the largest transfer of wealth from the working class, from the working poor, and from the middle class to the billionaires and mega corporations in the history of this country, and that's saying something. We're going to see 17 million people kick off their health care, and it's actually not even just the biggest Medicaid cut in the history of this country. It's the biggest cut of health care in the history of this country. Changes to the Affordable Care Act. We're going to see hospitals and nursing homes close. 1 in 4 nursing homes are at risk of closing because of this bill. It defunds Planned Parenthood. It makes it so that way they're not eligible to take people on Medicaid, which is going to eviscerate reproductive health care across the entire country. The largest cut to nutritional assistance, SNAP, WIC. We're talking about $5, $6, $7 a day so a family can feed their children. It's going to kill more than 1 million jobs. Because of cuts to the Inflation Reduction Act, people are going to see their energy bills go up in this country because of this bill. And you have to ask why. Why are they making all these cuts? Why are they ripping people out of their health care? Why are they ripping away food from the mouths of children? We know right here, the Orange County School District, and I'm so glad to be here with one of our school board members, Gallo. because of a program through the federal government, are able to provide universal breakfast and lunch to all of our students in the schooling system here. That is at risk because of this budget. So they're taking food from our kids, taking healthcare from our people, seniors, people with disabilities, children, low-income folks, and you have to ask why. And the why is very simple. Because they are giving the largest tax break and tax giveaway that we've ever seen to billionaires and mega corporations and the wealthy Americans, the wealthiest Americans. They put in some crumbs in there for people because the first time Trump passed his horrible tax scam, he was the most unpopular at that point. All these things that they're touting, a lot of them are lies, don't even last 2 years. But these tax breaks for billionaires are permanent. Permanent. If you want to see the values of a country and the values of a person, look no further than the budget and where they put money. Our country needs to be focused on fixing our healthcare system, which is not even a healthcare system, it's a sickness care system. We need to focus on making sure that we're not ripping away healthcare from 17 million people, but that we deliver it to every single person in this country. And no, I didn't say health insurance, I said health care. Our people deserve to be healthy. Whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, doesn't matter. And so this is going to really devastate working families here in Orange County, here in Florida's 10th Congressional District, and in rural communities across the state and across this country. We have some of the highest numbers of people who have health care because of the Affordable Care Act. People are going to be devastated because of the Medicaid cuts. But I also want to give a little bit of hope here, because the biggest part of the Medicaid cuts really won't fully hit until right after the midterms. And this is why the elections are so important. We have to be able to walk into the United States Congress and deny Donald Trump anything he wants until we bring down that number. And we can only fully do that if we take back the House of Representatives, which I know we can do. This is the most unpopular piece of legislation this century. Over 60, and we were just talking about this on a Fox News poll, 60% say they view it unfavorably. There's probably a little bit of a skewed poll too. So we know it's an unpopular bill. Everybody's against it, and what we have to do now is tell the stories of how this is impacting our community and how it will impact our community, and we will begin to feel these impacts over the next several months and over the next year. And I'm proud to be here with people who are dedicated to representing working people in this country. And the fact of the matter is, because wealth inequality has gotten so much worse, because we have such a rigged political system where billionaires and corporations have such outside influence over the process, we're at a point now where the job that could cover everything 10 years ago can't cover everything now. And at the same time, they're ripping away the social safety net that we fought for. So thank you everyone for being here, and I'm proud to introduce one of my colleagues and my next door neighbor, Congressman Darren Silva.
Thank you, Maxwell. The one big ugly law is a disaster for Central Florida. Record cuts to healthcare, record cuts to nutrition, record funding to double down on mass deportations, and record debt, all to fund tax breaks for billionaires that we can't afford. When you look at what's going to happen over the next 2 years with healthcare, it breaks my heart. First, we'll see this year, Obamacare rates go up between $1,500 to $15,000 per family. We have by far the largest Obamacare exchange in the nation. 4.6 million Floridians get their health care through the Affordable Care Act, including my district, which is the second most in the nation. And Max is in the top 10 too. In fact, all the top 10 Obamacare districts are in Florida, because we have a lot of folks who don't have employer-based health care, and they get it through the ACA. Then we'll see a tax on Medicaid. First, there'll be these new bureaucratic requirements that we've seen already in Georgia and Arkansas lead to massive amounts of people losing their health insurance. And just to make matters even crueler, the new ugly law doesn't allow folks who lose Medicaid to go on the ACA. It's just another level of cruelty in uninsurance. And if you have insurance through your employer, you're going to see that go up, because when you have more uninsured, somebody has to pay for it. And so everybody's plans will go up. We're also going to see from nursing home care deeply devastating cuts. Abuela's coming back on the couch. Grandpa's coming back, because about a third to a half of our nursing homes budgets around here are through Medicaid. Also, kid care. A lot of people love kid care. It's been a smashing success. This 2-page form you fill out at the school, your kid gets health insurance. 40% of the kids in our district get health insurance for kid care. Kid care is Medicaid. Medicaid is kid care. And we'll see a devastating cut to that for our kids. And then for our veterans and the disabled, we're also going to see cuts to so many of these programs, because they simply won't be able to get onto these programs. That drama you will see bear out next year, both with the requirements that are going to be added on, the bureaucratic requirements, and then the state legislature is going to have to make those cuts next year for the following year. So I know who's going to be in Tallahassee next year to tell them, hell no. Hell no. I know I'll be there. I know Max will be there too. And then nutrition. About 15% of the families in my district, they get their health care through SNAP. These are families that are working poor, folks who are helping in so many different industries around here who are struggling to get ahead. In what world is having kids go hungry a positive for Central Florida, for America? And then we see doubling down on mass deportations. $150 billion was allocated in the one big ugly law for mass deportations. That's more than the U.S. Marines get. I know we have a Marine veteran here, Senator Torres. Hoorah, thank you for your service, sir. Let's give him a round of applause for that. I'd rather be funding the Marines than trickling down on ICE. They can't seem to deport cooks and landscapers, cleaning ladies and nurses quick enough. And it'll destroy our economy, split families apart. They can't wreck our economy quick enough. And now this weekend we go down to Alligator Alcatraz. What an absolute dumb gimmick that is. Our state already had a dark history with the Dozier School for Boys having African American young men for nearly a century sent to the Panhandle. Many of them died, and now we thought that dark history was closed. Now we see it with predominantly young Hispanic men being sent down to places like that for nothing other than wanting to live a better life around you. It'll hurt our economy. It'll break up local families. And lastly, the national debt. This will add, including all the interest, $5.3 trillion to the national debt. That is more than all the COVID relief combined. What it means is interest rates, even if the Fed lowers them, aren't going down. It's going to mean higher interest rates for mortgages, for auto loans, for small businesses. And that's why this big, ugly law, despite what they're saying, actually leads to worse economic growth, leads to worse declining prosperity in our nation, because they're mortgaging the future for tax breaks for billionaires right now. Brevemente en español, este gran, feo proyecto de ley es un desastre por Florida Central. Tenemos cortes grandes por salud, cortes grandes para comida y asistencia de comida, y más fondos por una gran deportación y una gran deuda que va a afectar nuestra economía de una manera negativa. Cuando yo estoy pensando sobre familias, quien tiene Obamacare, Medicaid, y cortes de Medicare, I should mention that $500 billion in cuts to Medicare because the debt is so big, so it's going to affect our seniors too. Nosotros necesitamos estar unidos para luchar contra este ley nuevo feo, porque este va a afectar familias hispanos de una manera negativa, nuestras trabajadoras, nuestras abuelas y abuelos que necesitan los centros de enfermeras y otras familias. So we need to stand together, and I'm thrilled to introduce a great champion on Orange County's school board, Angie Gallo. Thank you so much for being here. Please give a round of applause.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. Today we are sounding the alarm on proposed federal funding changes that threaten to dismantle critical support system for thousands of students and educators in our district. More than 50,000 students, including English language learners, migrant youth, and students in juvenile justice centers, stand to lose access to the services they depend on. These are not optional programs. They are lifelines. Let me be very clear. Title III, which supports over 33,000 multilingual learners, is being eliminated. Title I, Part C, which provides home and school-based literacy support for migrant children, including toddlers, is being eliminated. Title II funds, which fund professional development for more than 17,000 educators, is being rolled into a new state fund without guarantees it will continue. Title II dollars support critical areas such as literacy and MASH initiatives. We have seen and can quantify the positive impacts to student learning that this money provides. Our FAST scores improved this year due to resources this fund supports. We have no schools in Orange County that were ranked a D or an F, and for the second year in a row, we are an A school district. Thank you. As a school district, we care deeply about academic achievement, first and foremost. These budget cuts will negatively affect our students' academic achievement. And Title IV,
They will not silence us.
it will not, we're back. Title IV, which provides mental health care, arts, STEM enrichment, and student wellness initiatives, faces the same uncertain future. Imagine a time when robotics or chess clubs or other innovative programs will not be accessible to our students. In total, these changes can impact nearly 175 staff positions, including teachers, paraprofessionals, coaches, parent liaisons, and program specialists, people who work every day to ensure the success of our students. Let me be honest, these cuts don't trim budgets, they create voids. Voids in classroom, in student services, in family supports, and they disproportionately impact the students who need the most help. While some funding is being rolled into a so-called K-12 simplified fund, there is no clear commitment to preserve the programs that have proven successful. That uncertainty leaves districts like ours in an impossible position. We implore state and federal leaders to protect these critical investments, to ensure that funds follow the students who rely on them most, and not leave their futures to chance. We cannot build strong communities without strong schools. We urge everyone to stand with us in protecting these essential programs. Thank you. And now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Timothy Ayers, Orange County Democratic Black Caucus.
Thank you. My name is Timothy Ayers. I'm representing today the Orange County Democratic Black Caucus. I want to speak to those of you who are standing today in support of our fighters in Congress, who are standing today in support of citizens across this county and this country who can't be here today. 8 days ago, I received from the Social Security Administration my eligibility notification that I am now eligible for Social Security. That was a promise made years ago under the administration of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt and successive Democratic and Republican presidents after that administration. I have choices. I'm going to opt not to retire this year, hopefully next year as well. But unlike my fellow citizens in Orange County and millions of residents across this country who don't have that choice, who are going to suffer because of the draconian cuts in Medicare, in SNAP, and other benefits, who were a form of promise and a lifeline to those families, we stand together in opposition to what Congress has done
my congressman, who's Congressman Daniel Webster. I've sent several letters to his office, as others have done in support of the actions by our other two congressional leaders that are here with us today. I wish my congressman would join us. He has failed to do so. He has failed to provide the leadership that's necessary for his constituency in his House district. And we would ask him, I ask him on behalf of the constituency that he represents, come join Maxwell Frost, come join Darren Soto, and fight for the benefit of Americans across the It is my great pleasure at this point to introduce a gentleman who is in the mental health field, who follows in the footsteps of my late mother, who provided mental health services. Brandon, come forward.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brendan Ramirez. I'm the CEO and owner here at Pan American Behavioral Health. We are a community mental health center. Now, what does that mean? We serve the community. We serve mental health and substance abuse, and we are about 98% primarily a Medicaid community mental health center. With that being said, a lot of people have come up to me since this disastrous bill has been passed and said, Brendan, what's going to happen to Medicaid? How is it going to affect you? How is it going to affect our community? And the answer to that question is, I don't know. We don't know. Because we're not exactly sure what's in the bill. We don't know how the work requirements are going to work. Who oversees them? Who makes the decisions on these work requirements? Is it going to be the state? Is it going to be the federal government? We don't know. We don't know answers to a lot of these questions. But what do we know? We know that because Florida never took Medicaid expansion, that a single homeless person in the state of Florida on the street does not currently qualify for Medicaid. We know that veterans and others living out of their cars working minimum wage jobs do not qualify for Medicaid. That's what we know. We know that 95% of the clientele that we see here are women, children, and the disabled. That's what we know. Now, I would love to be able to stand up here and say that we have a great state government that is willing to pledge to us that they can step in and fill in some of these voids that the federal government is currently poised to claw back. But unfortunately, we do not have that. Depending on what metric you use, Florida is ranked 48th or 49th in per capita mental health and substance abuse funding. 48th or 49th. When you're behind Mississippi, you got real problems. Real problems. So what can we do about this? We can't turn to our state government, as I said, because while they're running around in Tallahassee proclaiming the party of pro-life, that's just not the case. Pro-life is healthcare. Pro-life is food assistance. Pro-life is employment. Pro-life is affordable housing. Those are all pro-life, not just pro-work. So what can we do? We can sign the petition to get Medicaid expansion on the ballot, no matter how hard they want to keep that from us. And they're changing the rules to keep it from us. We can sign that petition. And of course, as always, we can get out there and we can vote for those that will ensure the health care of the most vulnerable among us. It is my pleasure to turn the microphone over to Corey Jones, SEIU.
Hey everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Corey Jones. I'm a proud member of SEIU, the Service Employees International Union, where I serve as the political director for the state of Florida for Local 1189, SEIU United Healthcare Workers East. I want to thank the Orange County Dems, Sam and his leadership, our congressional members who continue to stand with us in the paint all day, every day, Congressman Frost, Congressman Soto. I want to thank the healthcare providers that are standing in the paint today, and I want to thank labor and community allies that have been not only just standing with workers, but also have been standing in the paint, including in this fight for Medicaid, the dangerous cuts to Medicaid and SNAP, and also the other horrible policies the Trump administration and the Republican congressional members in the House and Senate, Republican members in the House and Senate. As Florida's largest healthcare worker union in the state, we have been dedicated to caring for hospital patients, nursing home residents, our most vulnerable, for decades here in the state of Florida. We know just how devastating these cuts will be. One too many people will die unnecessarily. Medicaid helps to fund the essential care for 4 out of every 7 seniors here in the state of Florida. We're talking tens of thousands of our grandparents, our parents, our aunties, our uncles, Mr. and Mrs. Jones from across the street, our elderly who depend on this care, who literally just want to live their lives out of dignity and respect. Slashing Medicaid will close critical facilities and eliminate thousands of jobs for caregivers. Our members are already seeing the impacts of this legislation. Who are not just worried about their patients and their residents, but now they also have to worry about themselves and their families too. With a healthcare staffing crisis that is already strained care, stressed out workers, these cuts will and can put healthcare system in a literal death spiral. And to what end? They want us to keep getting sick and die so they can get rich. These cuts are largely to fund trillions in further tax breaks to billionaires and big business. And it's appalling to caregivers. Make no mistake, these cuts aren't just policy about budget. They only want to divest instead of invest in the care and the well-being of our communities. The scripture says, faith without works is dead. I will tell you, 1189 SEIU healthcare workers are ready for this fight. And I have the honor of introducing Kristen Mercer, who is with Local 737.
Hello, my name is Kristen Mercer. I am an Orlando native, and I've been in the hospitality industry for 15 years. I'm currently a server with Delaware North Restaurant Group in Disney Springs. I'm here to speak on the lies of the no tax on tips bill. No tax on tips was sold to the working class people to make us think this budget would benefit us. This administration has been selling us a bunch of lies. It was going to be unrestricted and it was going to benefit us the most. However, now that the bill is actually passed, it has a cap total and an expiration date of 3 years. Meanwhile, the cuts to the billionaires have none of those caps. Trump is running around saying people like me are the ones that will benefit the most of this bill because of no tax on tips. But that is not for us. Don't use us to lie for who it is. The cuts to Medicaid are insane. I have a chronic illness, and my condition, I can't not have health insurance. My access to health insurance is already extremely limited, and with this bill, it's going to just become even harder to obtain. This is one of the biggest reasons why I've been fighting to unionize my location and my job. Workers need health care. This is just bailing out the billionaires and leaving the working class to fend for ourselves and become poor. Trump will never be the person delivering for workers. That's why I'm here, and that's why it's up to us, workers, to stand together and say no to bills like this and demand the respect we deserve. Thank you. I'm here with Local 737, and I'm going to be passing off to Felipe Sosa.
Good afternoon, everyone. I wish I could come here and tell you that Congress is focused on solving real problems our community actually have. Housing we can't afford, grocery bills that keep going up, jobs that don't pay enough for us to even survive. But instead, they've decided to spend $150 billion not on relief, not on schools or healthcare, but on cruelty. This new bill allocates $45 billion to expand ICE detention centers. $30 billion more to hire ICE agents, transport immigrants, and run these already abusive systems. And another $46.5 billion to finish Trump's border wall through indigenous lands and protective sensitive ecosystems. And the billions more for surveillance, military-style enforcement, and razor wire. This isn't about safety. I'm gonna put this down.
You can see I have enough passion to just carry the voice. This isn't about safety. It's about fear. It's about financing a network of modern-day internment camps. The one like they built here in Florida in a swamp. They call it Alligator Alley. I call it an internment camp. Yes. This is personal to me. I came to this country as an undocumented immigrant. I know the fear, the anxiety that something as simple as a traffic stop could ruin your life forever. I've watched my friends being torn apart by family separation. I have sat in the kitchen tables watching children asking, "Where is my dad? Where is my mom?" And I didn't have answers. I did not know if they were going to come back that day. This is what this bill is financing. And yet, this bill would increase the cost of appealing a deportation order from $110 to $900. That's putting a price on justice. If you can't afford it, too bad. You get sent away. Like you're thrown away. Like the 20 years, the 30 years of your life that you toiled in this country, that you picked the food that we eat, gone. Why? Let's be clear. This is punishment for being poor. This is punishment for being brown. This is punishment for being born on the other side of the border that they think is the wrong side of the border. And it gets worse. This bill rips away health care from immigrants with humanitarian protections. It takes food assistance away from children. It guts Medicaid and children's health insurance programs. It tells sick children and their parents, you don't matter. You're not one of us. Let me tell you what it looks like in the real world. A few months ago, I got a call from the Juarez family. After 20 years living in this country, building a construction company, and raising 4 U.S. citizen children, when they came forward as victims of a crime, they were detained and deported. Now, their older daughter went from a college student to a parent in her early 20s. This is what this bill is financing. And you and I are paying for it. It's on our name. And I say this, Taxpayers are footing the bill for mass deportation, not solutions. This does not fix the broken immigration system. It does not fix the issues of Floridians who actually need real solutions to their affordable housing crisis, to the lack of health insurance that we face every single day, that every single time we go to buy eggs, it's more expensive. And let me be clear, I am not going anywhere.
Okay.
I will stand with my community, no matter what. And they might try to take away democracy from us, but I know that I am not alone. Look at these incredible people behind me, and the many others that they represent. From being undocumented to being a U.S. citizen, and finally having the incredible honor of running for office. I have to say the following. It is not good enough to represent the Latino community for being Latino. You have to fight for us, and we're counting on you. Thank you.
Felipe is going somewhere. He's going to Tallahassee. We're going to take questions from the meeting they're setting, and I'll close with this. Look, we heard for 4 years, it's 2021, that we had an affordability crisis, and they blamed it on Democrats, and they blamed it on President Biden, and they blamed it on all these people. And maybe we didn't do enough of a good job as a Democratic Party, and they got a lot of working class and middle class people who actually believed that they were actually going to do something to bring down the cost. We're 6 months in. Everything is worse. The price of eggs is worse. We have a housing affordability crisis here in Florida where people are literally being kicked out of their homes.
Right, it's worse.
And it's worse right now than it was 6 months ago.
That's right.
Now we're going to have the biggest healthcare crisis that our country has ever seen because they're kicking out 17 million people off of healthcare. We are going to have a nutrition crisis because not only are they cutting SNAP by 20%, they're also trying to take away the farm workers that actually allow for us to eat. 50% of Florida's agricultural industry is powered by undocumented farm workers. So the question is, are they actually bringing down costs? And the answer is no. This is the only bill likely they're going to be able to pass. And it tells you exactly what they want. More tax cuts for the rich than the middle and working class pay for. And so here we are to extend an olive branch. Maybe you voted for them in November. Maybe you were upset with the Democrats. But realize what's happening. Wake up and see who's with you and who's against you. Because we are going to need you. Come November, we are going to need you to stand up for this country and to stand up for the people you love. Because they deserve better. And we are here to say that the Democratic Party can offer better. So with that, I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Lauren Torgan with Fox Populi. My apologies for being late. Perhaps you covered this before I got here, but do you have statistics specifically for Orange County how this bill is going to affect the people here, right here in Orange County, in terms of healthcare, in terms of education, in terms of food?
So
Yes, sir.
we have statewide numbers already.
County numbers?
We do not have county numbers, but I'm giving you the best that we have right now,
Okay,
which
go
is
ahead.
Florida will see nearly 2 million Floridians lose their health care under the big, ugly law. In 1.9, almost 2 million, that's the second most of any state in the nation, because we have a huge amount of folks on Obamacare and on Medicaid. And so we don't have the Orange County numbers yet, but they're gonna be big. With my district and Max's district being 2 of the top 10 Obamacare districts in the nation, I expect it to be hundreds of thousands of people who will lose their health care in Orange County.
School board member Gallo does have numbers about the school system.
So we were expecting cuts to come the next school year, not this school year. We were told that we would remain whole. So this school year alone, The Title 1 through 4 funds, it helps us employ 177 employees. This year alone, if we want to keep the same programs and the same people in place, we're gonna have to find $11 million out of our already tight budget. So that's $11 million that will go to educate our students in classrooms. That's $11 million that we can't use for salary increases for our deserving paraprofessionals and teachers. And so that $11 million is a lot of money that we're gonna have to find if we wanna continue these services.
Can I just briefly, my good friend who asked the question covers several neighborhoods in the congressional district that I reside in. A couple other people behind me reside. Once we find those figures for you, and we will, I would like you, as I respectfully have done in the past, to call Congressman Webster out and ask him how is he going to represent the thousands of us who live in his district who are going to suffer from this.
Only Congressman Webster would take my call.
Report that.
And we do have numbers by congressional district. I'm happy to get them to you. Any other questions?
This would be both for, I guess, Representative Soto and Frost, but I think he went to the bathroom. So if you want to answer, feel free.
No, he had to leave.
I'm sorry?
He had to leave.
Oh, okay. Are you both planning on going to Alligator Alcatraz this weekend?
I know I am.
Okay.
Definitely. We were supposed to have a surprise visit. Apparently it got leaked to the government, so now they're inviting all of us. This was a stupid gimmick to put forward because it's in a floodplain. And so you're going to see ICE agents, our National Guard, and ICE detainees all put in danger. We're one hurricane, one major storm away from that whole place getting swept away. All so that they can make it overtly cruel. But it's not going to be a deterrent to anybody. All they're doing is, if people are thrilled about this thing, if they're buying t-shirts, if they're big, wearing hats that say Alligator Alcatraz, I ask, what happened to you that you have this hate in your heart? We went through this whole thing with Dozier's School of Boys years ago, where black young men were sent up to the Panhandle, many of them died. And we all atoned for that, even though it happened before a lot of us were in office. And we thought that those dark chapters of Florida were gone. It's starting all over again. It's just a new target, undocumented. 90% of them are undocumented Hispanic males. And we'll see Black Caribbean folks also pulled up into that as well. And so we're facing the same old hate over again in a new form now.
And Congressman Frost will be going as well as some of our legislators.
Okay, fantastic. I know Anna Escamani is going as well. And then I just have one more question. I know you cited the Fox study earlier saying that this bill is kind of just very unpopular. Do any of your fellow representatives, whether that be in Tallahassee or DC, kind of share similar sentiments, whether that be Democrats or Republicans?
Well, look at the press releases of a lot of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. Most of them were not overtly, uniformly thrilled about this law. They hedged their bets. They talked about how this part was positive and this part they needed to work on. They know this is a deeply flawed law. And look at all the Democrats who put out our comments. We know it's bad on multiple levels: healthcare, education, the economy, the national debt, food assistance. 40% of Floridians will do worse under this law. And the folks who make the most money are the ones who do the best. And so just by sheer numbers, you're going to see more and more people as they realize, and this drama plays out with Obamacare this year, with the Medicaid cuts next year. Everybody's going to realize this big ugly law is going to come for them. It's only a matter of time.
Yep. Thank you.
Any other questions? Maybe one more? No other questions? Well, thank you all so much for being here. We appreciate you.